Hello, my friends, and welcome back. Today, we're taking a look at the 15th installment of what I like to call Fat Shaming Fridays, where we take a look at various responses to this.
Tell me the wildest way you have ever been fat shamed.
As usual, if I laugh at any of these stories, I'm not laughing at the fact that somebody was bullied or fat shamed. I'm laughing at the ridiculousness of the situation. What's the craziest encounter that you've ever had in public? Leave a comment below. I'm sure there are many crazy stories that we would all love to read. Alright, enough messing around. It's time to wash away the shame with the applying of comb to mustache.
Tell me the wildest way you have ever been fat shamed.
Okay, so for context beforehand, this was a few months ago. I had consulted Reddit for dating advice, which was my first mistake.
Yes, I would agree with that. Never go to Reddit for dating advice.
I had just begun a relationship with somebody who had never been with a plus-size girl before, so he didn't know how to handle the stares and looks that you get for being with a fat girl.
The stares and looks that you get. At first I thought you meant the stairs, like the kind that you walk up. That would have been funnier. At first he didn't know how to handle the stairs when you're with a larger woman. Wouldn't that be her that can't handle the stairs?
So I basically said, how do we move past this? And this guy says, you get your lazy ass in the gym and stop munching on all the snacks. Why do you want to sabotage your beauty and make your boyfriend feel uncomfortable?
Oh, dang. Dang, that's rough, son.
By me being fat. So of course I responded sarcastically, and I was like, yes, being a fat woman for the past 20 years, I've never once thought about trying to lose weight. Thank you so much for the insightful advice.
Right, so this person, like many people within the fat acceptance movement, and just many overweight people in general, is bringing up the point that, yeah, I've thought about losing weight before, I just haven't been able to do it. And that's a very good and valid point. Like, everybody who's overweight has thought about and tried to lose weight before. Every time you see somebody that is overweight, what you're seeing is somebody that has tried to lose weight before and failed. But it's not the big flex that this person thinks it is. Like, don't you think I've tried, dummy? I did try. And I failed, okay? Well, that means that what you tried was not appropriate. It's time to ditch the things that do not work and open up our mind to the possibility that we weren't following the best diet and exercise routine before. Just because you failed previously at something does not mean that you will fail again. Once you know what you're doing and you have the proper knowledge about what a proper diet is, then you will succeed. And you will succeed. Look me in my eyes. You will succeed. Bethany, John, Susan, Ellen, you're screwed, okay? You can't do this. I'm sorry. But everybody else... No, I'm just kidding. You too, Ellen. You especially. You can do this. I knew an Ellen once, and she did it. She succeeded.
And his response was, why isn't it working, though?
Oh, that is not very helpful. Why isn't it working, though, is what he said. He brings up a valid point. The information he's trying to give you is nice, but he's bludgeoning it into your forehead like a sledgehammer, right? He's not exactly eloquently spoken, so therein lies the problem. Although, honestly, that last line that he said wasn't really that mean. He said, why isn't it working, though? That's a pretty valid question. It sounds mean, but it's not really. He's just like, okay, so whatever you're doing is not working. Maybe we could adjust that. Not nicely worded at all, though, my dude. Next.
Tell me the wildest way you have ever been fat shamed.
I'm on a 5-day cruise with this guy I've been dating and 2 other couples. About day 2, we're hanging by the pool and he looks at me with disgust and said, you really should have worked out.
Day 2? Okay, so it took him 2 days to notice that you hadn't worked out before you guys went on the cruise. You should have said, damn, bro, what are you, blind? I've been fat this whole time, dog. I didn't just balloon up yesterday at the snack bar. I was fairly obese the whole time, eh? That's funny, though, when the person that you're with just notices the way you look all at once. They're like, oh, what the heck? Dude, Susan, what have you done? And you're just like, what? I've been this fat the whole time, stupid. What are you talking about? No. You were at least 5% less fat last time I looked over there. Okay, it's been about 10 minutes since I glanced over there, and you were about 10 pounds less. last time. The sea adds about 10 pounds, you know? I wonder if a cruise is any fun. You guys ever been on a cruise? To me, it seems... I don't know, man. I've never been on one, but just thinking about it, I've got mixed emotions, right? You're stuck on this boat out in the middle of nowhere with all these people, and that's awful because there's just people everywhere as far as the eye can see, human beings, you know? So that part sounds awful, but I do like the idea of drinking myself into a stupor and eating until I'm morbidly obese.
Before we came on this trip, he then proceeds to tell my best friend that I'm actually really not his type, even though he pursued me.
What the heck? This date is really going awry. And this is on day 2 of a 5-day cruise? Bro, you could have told me all this stuff before we left. Was this like a blind date? Did you meet this person for the first time as you both showed up to your cabin, or what?
So she asks him, well, what is your type? And he points to the skinniest thing in the room.
No, he did not point at the thinnest mint or the skinniest mini. How dare you, sir? He's like, my type? Right over there. He points to a literal broom handle. You're like, oh my god. She's a literal stick, sir. The strangest part about this story is how this dude acts like he didn't know what you looked like before you went on the cruise. Maybe he thought you were going to lose all that weight before you went on this cruise, right? He didn't see you in any of the days leading up to this event at all. Like, you guys are like, all right, we're going on the cruise on the 20th, okay? So I'll see you then. And then, like, he's like, all right, she's got 10 days to lose about 60 pounds. So we'll see what she looks like come cruise day.
At the time, I was at least 125 pounds heavier than I am right now.
Oh my goodness. Okay, so you were on the larger side there. Is this the event that prompted you to change? Is that why you lost that 125 pounds?
She tells me what he says, and then, of course, we get into a big argument and fight. Mind you, this is day 2 of the cruise. We end
Look at the little graphic she put up there. What the heck?
up breaking up, of course, but still have to share a teeny tiny room together and fly home.
Oh man, that's rough. Y'all broke up and then you have to share a room together for the rest of the cruise? You just start bringing all these dudes to the cabin. Oh man, that's messed up. I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry. I don't know what's wrong with me.
And then drive back to our respective places. This is before Uber. It was truly wild and the worst vacation experience ever.
Dude, that does suck. You break up with somebody and then you're stuck in the cabin with them for the next several days on your cruise. That's like driving by somebody on the road and yelling something out the window at them, and then you pull up to a red light, and then they pull up next to you. You're like, oh crap. Like, oh crap, I didn't know there was going to be a red light right here. And they pull up like, yeah, what about all that crap that you just said back there, huh, tough guy? You're not so tough now, huh? Next.
The wildest way you have ever been fat shamed.
Do you know what the most peak thing is? I have a story for this, and it's happened to me twice. First time,
You've got fat shamed twice.
I was at uni in my first year. I was on a night out with people from my course. We were getting in a taxi to go wherever we were going. A 6-seater taxi arrives. I go to get right in the back of the 6-seater, where like the 2 seats are right at the back. I'm climbing in now, probably like a bit drunk. The taxi driver comes up to me, he's like, no ma'am, like, you cannot get in the back of the taxi. So I'm thinking uncle's going to tell me that there's something wrong, people can't sit in the back, like the seats are broken, whatever. So
Okay, is he about to say that you're too fat to sit in the stupid taxi? Dude, I swear to God. I swear, if that's what happens here, I'm going to lose it.
I'm like, why? And he was like, no, you can't get in the back, you're too fat.
What? What do you mean? Too fat for a taxi? For a motor vehicle? What? What are you talking about? What is this guy on about? Dude, what? Was this like one of those weird little motorcycle taxis or something? Because it sounds like it was a regular taxi. You said a 6-seater, I believe is what she said. So that's clearly like a regular full-size taxi. What does he mean you're too big to sit inside of it? What? Sorry, love, you're gonna have to watch the next one. Jason Statham, why? Was it Jason Statham? He's all like, you want a ride to the airport, love? Okay. And then he just kicks you in the chest. And you're like, no, Jason Statham, why? Mate, you got a license for that handbag. You're like, oh, the Jason Statham taxi service is the worst. He keeps kicking me.
Didn't even react. I was so unbelievably shocked to that. I didn't even know what to say.
Yeah, that's really bizarre out of line thing to say to somebody out there on them streets.
Like, how are you actually going to say that to one of your customers? To say that to someone in general, but bro, I'm your customer.
Yes, this is completely unhinged. I'm going to have to agree with you here.
I'm giving you money, my own money as a poor student to take.
Yeah, I'm giving you that sweet, sweet bread, you know? Some of that nice cheddar. And you're over here fat shaming me when I gave you some of that sweet, sweet Skrilla.
You from A to B, and you're going to fat shame me like that. And
some of that sweet cheddar, that sweet bread, that sweet Skrilla. Sorry, I'll stop.
I remember so clearly, I was with people that I wasn't like very close with. It was quite early on into uni, so I didn't know people like too well at this point.
What did your mates think of this? Were they like, what the hell? Did he really just say that to you? Or did they start laughing? Did they start high-fiving and clapping and laughing and hooting and hollering, or what? What's the story?
So I was so unbelievably embarrassed that I thought this was like one of the first impressions that they were going to get of me. And of course, it just so happened that I was the only plus-size fat girl, whatever you want to call it.
Did they mistreat you after this at uni or whatever?
In a group full of skinny white girls, like, of course, like, just cherry on top of the cake. I was so embarrassed. Like, I wanted the ground to swallow me whole. And I don't even...
You wanted the ground to swallow you whole. Okay, that must be like a regional thing. I never heard that one. I don't think I would like that. Even if I was very embarrassed, I don't think I would enjoy a sinkhole to open up in the earth and for me to fall down. And that sounds awful, dude.
I think I reacted particularly emotionally. I didn't get angry, I didn't cry. I don't even think I ever even really said anything to him because I was just like so embarrassed and so shocked.
You didn't say anything to him. He said, you cannot get in my vehicle because you are too fat. And you just looked at him like all hurt and stuff, and you had no retort. Oh man, that's messed up. You gotta say something. Even if you don't have anything witty to say, you have to say, you know what, buddy? Screw you, okay? Something.
Fast forward a year and a half, the exact same scenario plays out. I'm on a night out with my best friends. And
Was it the same taxi driver? Oh my God. Oh my goodness. What? Dude, this would be crazy. You're like, it was the same taxi driver. Turns out he'd been stalking me for the entire previous year. The rabbit hole just keeps getting deeper and more disturbing. We followed him back to his apartment and looked in through the window and saw pictures of me all over his walls. He'd been following me for an entire year just so he could get the opportunity to fat shame me again. Son of a beach.
my sister in London, we're getting an Uber or a taxi, whatever, to come and pick us up to go home. 6-seater again arrives. I go to climb in the back. Taxi driver comes up to us like, no, you cannot get in the back of the taxi, you're too fat.
What? What is with these 6-seater taxis not allowing plus-size women in the back of them? How dare you, sir?
Someone skinnier needs to go. I genuinely could not believe the same thing was happening, and I
Did you say something this time?
just remember I broke down and burst into tears. And I think just because I was so sad that like the same thing had happened again, because the first time it had happened I was so shocked, and I think everyone I was with was so shocked. We just assumed that like it was an anomaly and he was a particularly horrible person. So for it to happen again not that long after, like I just couldn't hack that. Luckily I was with my best friends and my sister, who were very outspoken, like always have my back, and they ruined this taxi driver. So I was glad that they basically like fought my corner for me, because I was just too busy.
They fought him? With fisticuffs or with words? Because if you had ripped him out of that vehicle and give him a thorough beating, I don't think anybody would have judged you.
In the taxi crying. But yeah, it was just absolutely wild, both scenarios, because
So he says you're too large to get in the taxi, and then what? I mean, obviously you cannot get in the taxi in either one of these situations, so you just walked home, or you camped out on the sidewalk for the rest of the night, or you're still there on the sidewalk, you still haven't made your way home, or what's going on here, dude? Aren't you guys curious what happened after this? Like, he's like, yeah, you can't get up in here. You are too large to get in this taxi, Fatty Fatterson. And then you're like, oh man, that hurts. And then what? How did you get home eventually? Did you walk home? Did you find another taxi that didn't care that you were plus size, or whatever the story might be? I've never heard of anybody not allowing somebody into their vehicle because they were too large. I could see that maybe being the case, like if you're my 600-pound life large, where you're like literally can't even move on your own. But
I've always had the classic thing of like, when you grow up fat, like you get bullied, like you get taken the piss out for it at school. But
you get the piss taken out of you at school. See, that's one of my favorite sayings from over the pond there, is taking the piss out of, like, oh, you taking the piss out of me? Oh, you taking the piss. So he was taking the piss out of you, and it was bollocks. I agree.
it was the first time I'd ever received like overtly obvious fat shaming from a stranger. I just could not believe it, and like to this
Well, clearly this guy was a bell end.
day, I can't believe I went through that. I just think it's wild.
Okay, I'm gonna have to agree with you. That was very wild. They just straight up were like, no, you cannot get in this taxi, my friend. You will have to stay out in the rain. I know that there's a hurricane happening outside currently, and you are currently in the process of drowning, but, sorry, dude, you're a little too big. Like, dang, dude. Dang, bro. That's rough. Next.
Tell me the wildest way you have ever been fat shamed.
Okay, so I've never been fat shamed in my life, like ever, until.
Oh, I was about to end the video. I was about to say, you've never been fat shamed in your life. Well, what are we doing? And then I was going to end the video and say, all right, thanks for watching, liking, blah, 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 blah. Okay, let's go.
This past weekend when I was at a music festival called Boots and Hearts.
Oh, Boots and Hearts. I love that one. No, I'm just kidding. I don't know what that is. I've never been there.
And I went up, and before you enter the concert area, they pat you down, but I was wearing leggings. So she waved me through because she wasn't going to pat me down. And I thought she meant spin, so I spun.
So she goes to wave you through, like, all right, come on through, you. And you thought she meant to spin, so you spun. This reminds me of an episode of Seinfeld where George was talking about, like, yeah, when a woman enters a room, she twirls. Like, God, it's so weird. I have the funniest mental image in my mind right now of, like, the security guard waving this person through, and then she's like, oh? And then she just starts twirling as she enters. And the security guard is like, what? What are you doing? This isn't a ball, okay? You're not the belle of the freaking ball. What are you doing? And you're just like, oh, is that so? You start acting like Sparkle Jams? Oh.
And she had the dirtiest look on her face.
Yeah, because she's like, what are you doing twirling as you enter the room? What the hell? What are you... I wave you through and you start trying to dance with me? What the heck? You're violating all sorts of security protocols right now, ma'am. Ma'am, I'm going to have to ask you to step behind the line and stop trying to waltz with me, okay?
And she looked at me and she's like, are you pregnant? Like, how far?
Oh, lady. Oh, first you tell me to dance for you, and now you're saying I look pregnant. Make up your mind. Gosh, I thought we were going somewhere with this relationship. What the hell? Now you're fat shaming me?
How long are you? And I literally was shocked. I was...
Dude, I'm shook. Okay, I'm worse than shocked. I'm straight shook.
Like, this girl did not just say, like, bitch. Like...
Oh, man. Yeah, dude, what the heck? To hell with this lady. What is she doing? If there's anybody on earth who knows that you should never ask a woman if she's pregnant, it's another woman. She knew what she was doing. That was on purpose, homie.
I was so shocked. I ended up...
No. You were shook.
going to head of security and complaining, and she got fired.
Hold on. Okay, here's where we need to examine the validity of this story. Okay, so you're saying that you complained to the head of security and this person got fired. This implies that you saw this person got fired. They got fired in the span of time while you were still there going through the line. This is where things become unbelievable, right? If they got fired, it would have been like later in the day or something. The supervisor would have been like, yeah, dude, what you did back there, I'm sorry, but this is like the 10,000th time that you've done that. So we're going to have to let you go or whatever. That's how a firing goes. A firing doesn't go like, okay, you were fired. I'm firing you in front of this customer lady right here, right now. That's not how that works. That's incredibly unprofessional. I can't buy that happening. So that's why I'm not believing this story from this point forward. You would not have been witness to this person being fired.
Which I did not mean to do.
Right, this didn't happen, bro. It was a great story, though.
But I got free drinks from the bartender and a huge hug from the head of security. This macho man gave me a big hug.
A macho man gave you a big hug? Okay, well, it was worth destroying that person's life. They lost their job. They ended up being homeless. They started using crack. A few months ago, they OD'd and their corpse washed up on the shores of the New Jersey River. But, you know, whatever. It's all good, dude. They did fat shame me that one time.
And said that he would take care of it. And obviously he did, but like, what the heck?
That'd be funny. You get that person fired and then it like causes a domino effect in their life, and like they just like one horrible thing after another keeps happening, and then you meet them on the street several years later and they're like, you did this to me. You're the one who got me fired from that job. That job was the only thing holding my life together, you idiot. Ah! And you're just like, oh my God, I ruined this person's life. Well, you shouldn't have fat shamed me. You know, that's what it is, dude. Sorry, Ellen, but you hurt my feelings. What was your favorite fat shaming story from today? And like I said in the beginning, what's the craziest thing that somebody has ever said to you in public? Leave a comment down below. If you enjoyed the video, please leave it a thumbs up and subscribe. Anyway, that about does it. Thanks for watching, commenting, liking, and subscribing. And I'll see you in the next one.